Good morning, cubies and newbies. I am Sunshine, and I am here to play with, demonstrate the ABCube method that I created. It is the newest method for solving Rubik's Cubes. It works on every size Rubik's Cube, and it comes with a kitty cat. Okay, kitty cat jumped away. Sorry. I have to rescind the offer of a kitty cat. Works on every size Rubik's Cubes, and all you need is Formula A and Formula B. And so during the week, to begin my morning, I just walk through, I break my formula down into steps, and I walk through them weekday mornings. On Monday I did the corners. On Tuesday I did the opposite edges, and today I'm going to work on the side edges. And Formula A is 4 moves. It brings a piece to the top. And Formula B is 8 moves. It moves 3 pieces around. And that's all you need to do ever. So I work with the outsides first, with the corners first, because every cube has corners. And the original, we developed how to solve the original. I say we because it happened back in the 80s. It wasn't me. Decided that the easiest way to teach was to teach around the center cube, because the center cube cannot ever be changed. The whatever is opposite is always going to be opposite, and these pieces, the other pieces move and can be moved around, but the inner workings of the 3x3, it was shaped like a jack that you'd play jack and balls, and so it was a solid. These 6 corners were all one solid piece, and that one solid piece couldn't change. So we would work around that solid piece. Well, that was brilliant back then, but then when we came out with the 4x4 and larger cubes, where every piece could move, and then you didn't know, because there wasn't an absolute center, you didn't know what color was each side was supposed to be, so you decided it didn't matter and started solving it. Well, when you do the corners first, the corners can only be correct to each other in one position. So when the corners are correct to each other, then you know that anything that goes between those, anything that it dictates what color that side's going to be, and where each piece is going to be home. So that's why I do the corners first, and then I do the edges, because the edges help me. The edges are the next step going in, and when you have the edges done, then the corners help the edges know where to be. The edges help the centers know where to be. For example, when you're working with whatever 2 columns you're working on to place the centers, the edges line up to remind you what columns you're working on and which direction you're going. So it's kind of visual cues, if it will. So that's why I work from the outside in. Also, when you work from the outside in, you're not double placing things like with the reduction method. So this is a new method. I brought it out in 2020, and that's only 3 years ago. So it's still brand new. It's the newest method out there. And if I'm wrong, tell me otherwise, and I will correct myself. But I believe it to be the simplest method, because all you need are two formulas, 2 plans of movement. Formula A is 4 moves, Formula B is 8 moves. And Formula A is only used at the beginning, and Formula B is used for everything else. So it's real easy to just to remember. You're not memorizing hundreds of algorithms and having to remember which algorithm does which thing and which order you have to use them in, so that you're not messing up other parts of the cubes, because these are commutators. They only move the pieces that you want to move, and it works on whatever it is. So we did the corners on Monday, we did the side edges, we did the opposite edges on Tuesday, which happened to solve that one as well. So now our corners are correct to each other. The opposite edges were yellow and white. So the side edges are correct. So now I put white face down, and I'm going to work with yellow for the rest of solving the cage. And what so we know that the yellow and white are correct, and we're looking at the side edges, and so we look at it, we see whether they're correct. If one of them is one or more is incorrect, we pick one at random, and we apply Formula B to affect this piece. And so one of these pieces up here is going to come down there. We know it's this one because we can see that, but if you have a larger cube, instead of having to count, well, it's this many from the side, we would just keep your eye on the one you want to displace. Formula B uses the top row and 2 columns, and the first column is where it's going to end up, so this is going to be my first column. I'm putting something into this column, and the second column is where it began, in which, if I'm not sure, I just mark this one because this will tell me which column that was. So I start by moving away from the action, and then the first up, back, and then this is my second up. We are looking at the front of the cube as if it were rows and columns, and that's all you're affecting, is those rows and those columns, which affects the rest of the cube. But all you're doing, we're never moving a side column like that, we're never moving a back column, we're just working with 1 row, 2 columns. So that displaced this piece down into here, and the 3 cubes that moved, or 3 cubies that moved, are these 3. And so I told you I was going to keep white down, so I'm going to bring this cube to the front, just rotate the cube. So this cube is the one I'm going to place next. I hold on to the top, and I move the cube together until the corners match the side. Now I'm ignoring everything on the top. I'm ignoring everything except the cube I'm working on. So I'm ignoring everything that has yellow here at the top, and I'm looking only at what doesn't have yellow until my yellow finds its way back to the top, in which case we'll make a determination. So I've moved, so the corners match the front. I need to determine it's going in the green direction. So here's the orange and green. This is the orange and blue. So it's going in this direction. So follow Formula B. We move it away from the action. First column up, back in, second column up. Reverse it down, reverse down. Every other move is horizontal, every other horizontal is the reverse of the one before it. So that was moved, that was placed, and it gives me something else without my yellow to place next. I'm going to keep placing whatever's not yellow until the yellow comes back to the top. Again, my white stays down and gives me visual cues as to what columns I'm working on. So I hold the top, make the corners match the front. It's going in the green direction, so I move it away, first up, back, second up, reverse, and then again my white lines up to tell me which row, to remind me which row I'm on. So again, I'm looking for what's not yellow because my white is staying face down. You notice my white's happy, it's not doing anything, because Formula B only moves the 3 pieces you want to move. And it doesn't mess up anything that's already messed up. So I bring the cube to match the corners. The corners match the front. It's going in the green direction. So away, first up, back, second up, away, down, back, down. I'm losing my headset. Excuse me. I had to sneeze. Sorry. Okay, so looking for what's not yellow. How are we doing? Anybody new come in? Okay. So orange corners match the front. It's going in the green direction. Up, down, down. Corners match the front. It's going in the red direction. Away up, in, up, away down, in, down. And I keep doing that as long as there's a not yellow in the top. Line up the corners. going in this direction, so away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Corners match the front. It's going in this direction, so away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Still not yellow on top. Line up the corners, determine its direction, up, up, down, down, and my yellow made it back to the top. Huzzah! The yellow will always make its way back to the top. The question is, will it be in its correct position or will it be incorrectly positioned? And if it's incorrectly positioned, we check the side edges to see if they're correct. These ones are correct, these ones are correct, these ones are correct, and these ones are correct. So this is whenever it looks like there's only two pieces that need to be swapped. We call that a parity. Parities are lies. There's no such thing as a parity. We call it a parity, but B always moves three pieces around. So if you only see two pieces, the piece that you don't see is the piece that you don't see. You don't see the center row of that cube and how it's supposed to be positioned, because it's not like the absolute center of the original cube. So we make this, we give this row that the parity is on, that at least one side of parity, both of them doesn't matter, but one of the cubes that the parity is on, we give that row 1/4 turn. And now if we look at it, look at our edges here on this row, one is correct and 1, 2, 3 need to be rotated, need to be moved, repositioned. So if I had done the opposite direction, there would still be one piece correct and 3 out of place. And so we can correct those 3 out of place. This is the only time when we potentially undo something we've done before, because that 1/4 turn to undo the parity is going to displace your centers if you've already done them, which is one of the reasons why I do the centers last, so that the parity can just be undone 1/4 turn as it happens. You don't have to learn a big old long algorithm on how to undo your parity at the end, after you've got everything else solved or what looks solved. So again, orange is now my top because I made this 1/4 turn. I'm going to work on these as side edges. So I'm going to displace one of my oranges into this incorrect piece, and then I'm going to work with my oranges as top. So up, up, down, down. If I did not want to do that, if I wanted to keep yellow as the top, then I would have displaced one of the pieces of the parity, and the place where it landed is the row I would have turned. It doesn't matter which row, which slice you turn to fix your parity, as long as it's on the layer that has the parity. So for example, if this cube is going to land here, then this is a row I can turn to fix the parity, and also this is the row I can turn to fix the parity. So it doesn't matter. You just let the cube dictate to you. So, not orange. Corners match the front. It's going in the yellow direction. Formula B. Away, up, in, up, reverse. Okay. So, the not orange on top is this one. Corners match the front. It's going in the white direction. Up, up, down, down. The not orange on top is green, white, corners match the front. It's going in this direction. And when my color comes back to the top, I set the top and I'm done, because the parity has disappeared. The parity, there are many things. The parity was caused by a 1/4 turn being off. You fix the 1/4 turn and everything's fine. So that's the side edges. The parity showed up, and so that's awesome. I can keep demonstrating on this one, or I can show you my fun toys. I can show you my fun toys. I have a novelty item for today. I have this Pac-Man game. It's so cute, and it plays Pac-Man. It runs on batteries. It's not rechargeable, and it just fits on my on my shelf, and it's cute. You can turn it on. You turn the power on, press the start button, and then you move around to avoid the the ghosts. I used to play Miss Pac-Man all the time as a teenager, young adult. The Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man was just, they had it, the arcade that I went to. Remember when to play a video game, you used to have to leave your house, go down to a corner arcade, and put a quarter into a machine. Wait in line and put a quarter into a machine. If someone else was playing it, you'd put the quarter down, and you'd stand by and wait, just to indicate that you wanted the next play, and then you'd just stand around and wait for that person to finish their game. And if they were good, it could take half an hour or so. And if they weren't, then your quarter is lined up. So that was the protocol. You just put your quarter down, and if more than one person wanted to, then someone else would put their quarter down behind you. But this, I found it and I bought it because it made me happy. So that's one of my novelty items. My novelty item for today. People ask me sometimes if my formula works on these types of the puzzles, and so I do. This one can be completely solved with A and B. This one can be completely solved with A and B until you get to the last layer, and then the last layer does require 2 algorithms from an n by n cube, from a 3x3. It requires the one that says front right up front, and the RU formula. I don't know what they're called, but so other than that, this A, B, and B works completely. But when I get to the last layer, I need to do that. Use those 2 algorithms to get my edges placed correctly. And then the corners, of course, can be done with just formula A again to bring it back to the top. A and B to place it positionally correctly. Place it positionally correctly. I know words. I just don't always use them correctly, and it's hard when I'm streaming. So I just ordered, and I'm waiting to receive. This, I consider this the equivalent of a 2x2, and this is the equivalent of a 3x3. I bought a 5x5 and a 7x7. So the Mega Minx and the Giga Minx, I think they're called. And so when those come, I will show you, and I will figure out how much of them can be solved with A and B, and how much, if there's more than just those 2 algorithms that I need to solve for this one. So like I said, it solves every n by n cube, and some of the other puzzles, but any n by n cube. And sometimes, with an adaptation, you can solve some other cubes, like the Wood-Eden 3x3x9 can also be solved with just the A and B, with just one minor adjustment. I also am showing off the fact that for assistance in teaching, online or in person, I bought some blank cubes, stickerless white cubes, and what I use these for is if you have your cube in your hand and I have my cube on my hand, but my cube doesn't match yours unless I've specifically matched my cube to yours. So I can demonstrate the movements, out, down, in, up is formula A, and slide up, slide down is formula B. So you can watch my hands do the motions that your one needs, without me without being confused by the colors of my cube, and I can make them match the color of your cube with these Post-it note stickers. So I'll say, okay, what color are we working on? Working on yellow? Okay. All right. So is this corner yellow? Yes. Okay. So I will take a post-it note, and I'll put that yellow there. So I'm matching what your cube is. And I'll say, is there yellow somewhere here? And the answer is no. And I'll say, is there yellow somewhere here? And you'll say yes. And so I'll say, okay, which one is it? And if you say it's on the side here, I had to get one piece of paper at a time. Then I'll say, okay, the yellow is right here. So this piece is yellow. We're ignoring everything but the yellow, so that doesn't matter. So then I could walk them through this this yellow coming to the top using formula A. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. Two more. Out, down, and up. So I can say, okay, so yellow's on top. You know, and then after we've got the yellows done, I can say, okay, what color is this? What color is this? And I can identify the pieces according to what the cube that's being solved has, so that they can see what I'm doing. So it helps. I anticipate that helping greatly when I'm teaching online or in person. So that's fun for me. I wanted to show off those. I've shown them before, but I wanted to again because I'm proud of how I'm using them. All right. If I don't get any questions, I'm just gonna monologue. All right. You guys, I know I recognize your guys' name. I know you're here a lot, and so I'm not going to preach to the choir. I know you guys know how the method works, or you wouldn't be interested in it. So I'm going to call that a day, and thank you for joining me. And I will finish these side edges, and then come back and work on the centers tomorrow. I'll always do a quick overview if people have questions, but you guys are my familiars, so go and have a wonderful day. Be nice to yourself, and I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Okay. Bye.